Rhetoric, the art of persuasion. But what is it? To me, rhetoric is a conduit for inciting critical thinking at a societal level. It encourages audiences to think critically about social issues around them, which can lead to deeper influence and deeper thinking about injustice and change. Thinking about Robert Harriman's definition of rhetoric, open quote, we can define rhetoric as a mode of reflection upon the sociality of language. It directly ties in Rhetoric, as a mode of reflection on the social nature of language, enables individuals to critically think and examine how different meanings can be constructed within different systems of power, which ultimately leads to society doing that critical thinking on a social level.
See, I take a different perspective on its definition. To me, rhetoric is the act of attempting to persuade, argue, and influence someone. But I believe rhetoric works from both sides of the influencer and the one being influenced. From where signs are placed to different size texts on a flyer seen in a cafe, I have the ability and the option to ask, why was it placed here? Come up with a conclusion and be able to influence them through Aristotle's theory. Aristotle, with rhetoric, he says, quote, rhetoric is a faculty of finding the available means of persuasion, and one can accomplish this sense of persuasion of any subject through establishing credibility, logic, and my favorite, appealing to one's emotions.
Just from our definitions alone, we establish two fairly different definitions of this word. According to the definitions of Aristotle and Harriman, that's four definitions in total, and probably more than that. So you may be asking, what is so significant about this word rhetoric? Why is this term so widely used across modern times? Why hasn't it died out? It's because studying rhetoric matters today, because we live in a world saturated with messages competing for our attention. Rhetoric can be found in more than just a speech nowadays. People can find rhetoric all around them, even in the very digital world that we live in. Misinformation spreads rapidly because often people rely on the weak, simplified, or emotional arguments of those media spaces and are able to draw an invalid conclusion that then gets spread around, creating echo chambers. Understanding rhetoric can help evaluate what's credible and true, recognize inconsistencies, and engage in more thoughtful conversations.
Without clearly understanding the skill, people can't structure proper arguments or choose strong evidence to support those arguments. From completing a project about why rhetoric matters to advocating for change to it all has persuasion and influence behind it.
Rhetoric goes back a lot further than some realize. Frederick Douglass, an abolitionist, journalist, and reformer, is a key example of someone who was able to use rhetoric to influence President Abraham Lincoln, make emancipation of war, and recruit Black soldiers as he advocated for the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments through newspapers, which granted African American citizenship and the right to vote. Through a form of rhetoric, advocating Douglass was able to influence a huge change in history that brought about our country one step closer to African Americans being treated as equals.